Hello viewers, you are watching International Wild. Kindly subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get notification of the latest uploaded videos. The 532nd day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. The General Staff of Ukraine reports that on the night of July 30, 2023, the enemy attacked from the southeast with 4 Shahid-type strike UAVs by the forces and means of the Air Force. All enemy UAVs were destroyed. The Operational Command South reports falling debris on agricultural enterprises. The wreckage fell on the territory of one of the agricultural enterprises, where a fire broke out in a grain storage, which was quickly extinguished. Warehouses were damaged, people were not injured. Also in the Operational Command South, they report that the Russians, with tactical aviation in the Black Sea, attacked Yevhenii Island for the 3rd time this month, dropping 2 unidentified air bombs in the area of the island. At the same time, the armed forces of Ukraine this morning confirmed yesterday's attack on the Khanur Bridge. The target is reported to have been hit. Previously appointed by Russia authorities announced a strike on the railway between the Kherson region and the Crimea, 12 Storm Shadow missiles. According to the Russian governor of the Kherson region, all missiles have been shot down by anti-aircraft defense. The damage has already been repaired. It's noted that since yesterday morning, Telegram channels have been publishing photos of large hues on the Khanur Bridge, which were formed, according to rumors, due to damage during missile strikes. Meanwhile, drones attacked Moscow at night. In the 50-story business center, Moscow City, explosions thundered at the level of 6 to 7 floors. The Russian Defense Ministry said that one of the UAVs was destroyed in the air. 2 more were suppressed by electronic warfare and fell on the territory of Moscow City. The mayor of Moscow said that the facades of the 2 towers of the complex were slightly damaged and windows were shattered. All residents of the tower were evacuated. The explosion occurred at the level of 6 to 7 floors. A temporary restriction on the stay of any aircraft was introduced in the Moscow air zone. The capital's Vnukovo airport was closed for departures and arrivals. Flights were redirected to other airports. 3 Russian ministries are located in the tower, which was attacked by the drone: the Ministry of Economic Development, the Ministry of Industry and Trade, and the Ministry of Communications. Russian Telegram channels are posting photos and videos of government documents blown away by the blast after being hit by a drone. The armed forces of Ukraine commented on the drone strike on Moscow. Something always flies in Russia, including in Moscow. Those whom the war does not concern, it already touches. There are already certain moods in Russia. Something arrives loudly. Therefore, talking about Russian peace and outback is no longer necessary. They got what they wanted, said Yevhenii, Speaker of the Air Force of Ukraine. That is, based on these words, the main task was informational and psychological, to show the Muscovites that the war is not somewhere far away, but has already come to their house. By the way, the drone strike and the Russian Telegram channels supporting the war are interpreted as an information psychological operation, arguing that these strikes do not pursue any military goal, but are called upon to switch the attention of Ukrainians from strikes on the territory of Ukraine and create a victory picture. Meanwhile, Crimea was also attacked by drones at night. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, 25 aircraft-type UAVs were shot down and landed by means of electronic warfare. 16 Ukrainian UAVs were destroyed by air defense fire. Another 9 Ukrainian drones were suppressed by means of electronic warfare and, without reaching the target, crashed in the Black Sea, the report says. Over the past day, 36 military clashes took place in Ukraine. The General Staff reports. On the Kupiansk and Lyman sectors of the Kharkiv direction, the enemy is behaving actively. There were several attempts to attack, but the enemy failed and suffered losses, Deputy Defense Minister Anna Maliar said. Starlink maps experts reported that the Russians resumed their offensive against Kupiansk and occupied new territories between the Oskil River and Lyman, Persia. Meanwhile, the head of the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration, Oleg Synegubyov, allowed the evacuation of Kupiansk in the event of a deterioration in the military situation in this direction. But at the moment, he said, there is no need for this. No positions have been lost, we control this situation. If there is a danger that we observe, then, of course, we will make decisions on the evacuation of the local population from certain settlements, in particular from the city of Kupiansk, Synegubyov added. This comment came after Russian telegram channels announced that the enemy had managed to advance west of Lyman, Persia near Kupiansk and reached the Oskil River there. Ukraine does not confirm these advances. According to the General Staff of Ukraine, the enemy conducted unsuccessful offensive operations in the area of Novoihorivka in the Svatov sector. Starlink maps experts report that after the arrival of reserves, the Ukrainian armed forces managed to stabilize the front line near Karmazanivka. Moreover, the Ukrainian army regained control over the small town of Tverdoklybov. However, according to experts, the Russians did not stop their offensive efforts south of Novoihorivka, trying to enter the Kharkiv region from this side. In the Lyman sector, according to Starlink maps experts, the Russians attacked to the west of Zytlivka, where they managed to re-enter the Donetsk region. In the Bakhmut area, according to Deputy Defense Minister Anna Maliar, the Ukrainian armed forces continue to move forward on the southern flank near Bakhmut, but there is no progress on the northern flank. The enemy is deploying additional forces and equipment near Bakhmut. Shelling continues from both sides in the city itself, Maliar reports. In the Marinka sector, the enemy increased assault operations using tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. Our defenders repelled all assaults and significantly destroyed the enemy offensive potential, the Deputy Minister of Defense wrote in her Telegram channel. This was also announced by the Speaker of the Defense Forces of the Tverchesky direction, Captain Valery Shershin. According to him, the Russians stepped up their assault operations in Marinka, throwing into battle detachments, which mainly consist of prisoners. 18 combat clashes with the use of armored groups were recorded, especially in the Oleksandrivka, Marinka direction. Let me remind you that the battles for Marinka have been going on since the beginning of a full-scale invasion. At the moment, the armed forces of Ukraine control the western part of the city. Yesterday, Starlink maps experts reported that the Russians went on the counterattack and managed to capture some of the high and low positions adjacent to Staromaersk in the Berdyansk sector. Today, Russian telegram channels report that the armed forces of Ukraine have firmly taken up the neighboring village of Yevhenii. According to them, aviation and artillery of the Ukrainian army have been working in the settlement all day. They write that for their army, a very dangerous situation has developed. Starlink maps experts also record new successes in the advance of the Ukrainian armed forces north of Pryan, where they are gradually approaching the city, in the Berdyansk sector. In the Mariupol section, according to Starlink maps, the Russians have introduced new reserves over the past 2 days. As a result, the Russians managed to stabilize the situation in the Verbov area and repel the attack of the Ukrainian army southwest of Robotyne. Today, the Ukrainian military with the call sign Madyar said that the Russian army has already received the technology to jam Starlink at the front. They are testing and preparing for industrial production. A front without Starlink is significantly more difficult than even a front without F-16. Blind and deaf, wrote Magyar. I note that in April, Western media, citing American intelligence, reported that the Russians were testing Starlink jamming technology based on the Tobol electronic warfare system.